Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Dollars and Cents, HAPO Community Credit Union's financial literacy podcast. We are on location today at the HAPO Center, and we will be talking with Mike McCall, the general manager, and Joanna Ruiz, who is the director of sales. Now, I know that we get calls about this regularly, and we've discussed this. You guys do as well. Let's tell everybody what the difference is between HAPO and the HAPO Center.
Well, first of all, the HAPO Community Credit Union is, an entity unto itself and big in the community. And as part of their marketing, they elected to come and be the naming rights partner here to what used to be called track.
Yeah.
And some people still refer to it as that, but there are far and few between. Most people know this is the HAPO Center. And frankly, we get calls every day of the week, multiple calls. And there's no exaggeration that we're not the credit union, and I'm sure that may be the case for you guys too. But
I know that we do get calls as well for people asking about like tickets to upcoming events or other activities that are happening at the center. And we're like, that's not what we're the financial institution. We need to pass that over to the HAPO Center, which kind of makes me wonder if the Staples Center ever got phone calls asking about product sales for Staples.
Right.
Like naming rights are a thing across all different sports industries. Definitely. And we're used to seeing different business names on stadiums and event centers and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But I think locally, sometimes people don't understand that, we're doing those type of things as well here.
As part of our marketing plan for 2025-26, we're going to incorporate the word events into HAPO Center. So you'll start seeing more HAPO Event Center rather than just the HAPO Center. And we hope that's going to help clarify that for people and make it easier and make it more definable for people.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll drive people the right direction as far as which phone number to call for what they need.
Right.
So tell us about your personal histories, that what brought you here, because you both have come on with the HAPO Center fairly recently, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, both of us in the last year.
Okay.
And as part of HWL, who has the management agreement here through the county and the city. And that's Harris White Leisure, the two partners. And Joanna, I think I'll let her start first, but she's been here about, is it 4 months?
8 months.
8 months.
8 months.
The
Double,
the time
Oh my
flies.
gosh.
The time in the event industry
You're having
goes
so much fun.
fast. Yeah.
Why don't you share a little bit about your background?
Yeah, so I was the vice president of operations for a piano wholesale and retail company for 9 years. During those 9 years, I got to travel all around the U.S. Visiting piano stores, selling pianos, which honestly was a great experience, getting to see different parts of the U.S. and getting to meet different cultures and different places. And definitely it also took me abroad selling pianos as well. I got to go to Italy, to Germany, and different parts of Europe, and as well as China. So, it gave me that experience to travel and learn and experience, and also, hone in on my management skills. I was the vice president of operations, so I got to oversee retail stores and wholesale. So I got to see pianos being imported, exported. So I got to deal with that, and just the whole logistical side of the business, as well as the management side. I opened up piano stores. I made sure, they had all the processes in place, and made sure the financials were great, marketing, sales. So I got a good overview of what a business.
Ask,
yeah.
What's the worst piano install you ever had to oversee? Like third floor, fourth floor?
Oh, man. Luckily, I wasn't too involved in the retail side of the actual delivery, but man, a lot of just crazy requests using all the forklifts and what do they call those?
Cranes.
The cranes outside the houses. It was an intense. And I've also seen pianos be dropped, which was never a good thing.
And, I wanted to add to that too.
Yeah.
Joanna's experience in that really has translated well for our position here. And her director of sales title is a little bit misleading because of her background in operations and marketing. And that's really given her a leg up to help us develop and grow.
Okay.
And, oftentimes when you have people selling, sometimes they're disconnected with the reality of what's going on from an operations and consumer standpoint. And she's so connected there. So it's really been a great asset for us.
Excellent. That sounds impressive for that. Yeah, I'm going to guess that we're not going to see a piano gallery here in the near future.
Maybe a piano event.
There we go. See, that could be functional as well.
Yeah.
I know that around the Tri-Cities, there are a couple of locations that have the pianos that are just out on the sidewalk, the free Play Me type of piano setups.
True. I think I've seen that too.
Though my guess is those are not quite as nice as the pianos that you used to work with.
Yeah, no.
Mike, tell us a bit about your experience and what brought you here.
Well, I've had so many experiences it would take up the whole podcast. So, but I'll try to just give you, in a nutshell. I was very fortunate to get to work in an industry where I had a passion for. I played and coached sports as a youngster and through college, and always loved it. And I never dreamed that I would make a career out of it. But fate sometimes takes you in places. So I was fortunate. I actually started for a company out of Spokane while I was living in California, selling scoreboards.
Oh,
and
okay.
I don't think I ever thought about being a scoreboard salesman, growing up, but it was fascinating because watching the manufacturing side, building these multi-million-dollar scoreboards, all the way, they were $500,000 to $5 million. So I handled the Western United States, and that took me into all the major league teams' offices and selling to them. And then the collegiate ranks was a different animal. They would actually give us a letter of intent, and what I would do then is go out and sell all the advertising and to pay for those scoreboards. So Stanford University, UCLA, University of Washington, many of them. And that was just so much fun getting to interact with alumni and sponsors in each of those markets. And it really taught me how to interact with people from a sponsorship.
I was going to say, it's also two different avenues of selling a product, which is very interesting. Yes. Companies coming in with just check in hand as some of the larger professional teams can probably do. And then from the college side, the letter of intent is interesting. So basically they're saying, hey, we want this, but we want you to sell the advertising on it to help pay for it.
In today's college environment, it's completely different. But 30 years ago, they really weren't qualified to go out and raise money for score. They just didn't know how to do it in those days. Pro teams did. They had, very high paid salespeople and marketing people, and they could do that on their own. So you're right. It was two different avenues, and one is direct selling and one is going out and selling the advertising. So, but it really opened a lot of doors for me. And my career took me into minor league sports and major league sports, predominantly minor league baseball and hockey, and then Major League Hockey. I was the chief marketing officer for the Dallas Stars for a few years, and I was the vice president of sales and marketing for the New Jersey Devils in the mid and late 90s. And I was fortunate enough to be there when we won a Stanley Cup, and that was awesome for me personally. And then I got to put on the whole, parade party, if you will, celebration afterwards, which was a first for me.
I was going to say a little bit of an event planning.
Yes, very much so. We had about 135,000 people there, and it was incredible, the energy, and it really went well. So that was great because you take that with you the rest of your life in planning events, and so that's helped me transition. And then, I was fortunate enough to be part of the most successful minor league baseball team ever in minor league baseball in Frisco, Texas, which is just outside of Dallas. And we were partners with the Texas Rangers there, and we averaged about 10,000 people a night for 72 games a year. And it was incredible. The stadium facility was tremendous. The entertainment, what we put on, what we did. And we had a great group of people there that helped us to be successful. But I ran a minor pro hockey league out of Boise, Idaho, the West Coast Hockey League, which is now merged with the East Coast Hockey League.
Okay.
I actually put a group together, and we bought the Mesquite Rodeo in Dallas, Texas, which is the oldest rodeo in Texas. And we went in there and did a complete transformation, like we're similar to what we're doing here. And I assure you, there's a couple of things I don't know how to do well. Number one, I don't ice skate, but I spent 30 years in hockey. Number two, I've only been on a horse once, and I think that was outside of a grocery store when I put a nickel in the machine. So, but the fundamentals of what you need to do to listen to customers and provide them with their wants and needs is the same everywhere. Yeah. So it doesn't really matter the sport. And so I had, I ran another minor hockey league team and arena recently in Michigan, and before I came here, and complete transition of the facility, culture, attitude, marketing plan, and everything. And in fact, we were named the USHL's Organization of the Year the first year we were there. So when they had never been named that in 30 some years. So it was quite an accolade for the community. But interesting, the story that I want to tell is that how I really got started in the
Okay.
hockey business. Because growing up in Los Angeles, hockey wasn't, in those days, till Wayne Gretzky got there, hockey was just a back burner sport. But while I was selling scoreboards, my boss said to me, "What's going on down in Tri-Cities with their hockey arena that's going to be built?" I said, "I'm working on it, but I'm working at the Kingdom and working on Stanford, and it was a smaller project." And he said, "We will not lose a project in our home state." So that required me to go down and spend a little more time. And ultimately, the gentleman that was building it asked me to become the general manager there. So I opened up what is now the Toyota Center
Okay.
in 1988 and 89, and got to my first taste of hockey itself, and building an arena and running the arena.
I was going to say, that was back when the Tri-City Americans were wearing black and yellow.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And my first year there, I developed a lifelong friendship with two of our players, and that's Stu Barnes and Olaf Kolzig, who both became first-round draft picks at the end of that year, which is highly unlikely. I just thought it happened all the time. I didn't realize that it may never happen again in the history of the Tri-Cities, that they have two first-round draft picks. And they both went on to 15-year careers, both of them highly successful. Stu went on to coach for the Dallas Stars when I was working there. He finished his career as a player there, and Ole stayed in one place with the Capitals for all those years. So, and we remain friends today, and it's a great relationship. And it's just a great thing to see them as 17-year-old kids, and now being 53-year-old men with families, and how successful their careers have been. And both of them, of course, bought the Tri-City Americans, and Stu's coached the last few years, and they both live back here. They both married young girls from the Tri-Cities many, many years ago. So it was quite a story, and one that I treasure a lot.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask if you had done any work with the local teams or whatnot, being from the Spokane area originally, but that we won't lose a sale in our home state is a fantastic way to transition into that. And then the other thing that I noticed is that both of you have worked in so many different places around the nation as well as around the world, that bringing all of that knowledge from all of those different places, how different was the industry in each of those different places that you went? Was it the same type of thing, or was it like Dallas is very different than Milwaukee?
That's a great question. There are fundamentals that are the same, because as far as understanding what people's needs and wants are and providing them to them. But the South is different from the East, is different from the Northwest. And you go from small towns to huge cities. And so you got different variables there too. But I think when it all comes down to it, the fundamentals are the same. And that's one thing that Joanna and I, we get to talk shorthand and talk. We both understand that really when it comes down to the fundamentals of being successful, you've got to have a good plan. You've got to have the right people to execute it. You've got to have a culture to have some excellence and set new standards. And we realize that we're trying to do something that's almost a revival, is to take something that was built years ago for the ag business, and really now is transforming into an event center for the community and the whole Tri-Cities. And so we're not only trying to make sure that we right the ship for the future and create the fundamentals and the plan for it, but also to create some vision of what can this turn into. Because if you ever tried to replace this building, it's probably $150 or $175 million, and that just wouldn't happen. There's no one, there isn't money to do that in this day and age. So, taking this and getting with the city and the county and making sure that we're all on the same page about who we want to be and when we want to do things and what's right for the community and what's the real purpose. And there's a balance between serving the community and doing certain events that Joanna's out bringing in now that are smaller events in the scale of revenue or people, but they're a great, it's just a great offering for the county and the city to be able to offer to the community. And then at the same time, we want to grow the major events here. We want to grow the concert business. There's a $5 or $6 million HVAC plan
Upgrade,
right now to put air conditioning into the arena, which will really change that, because right now we really have a difficult time bringing any events in there during the summertime.
I was going to say, especially during the heat waves.
Yes. And we do have a concert. We have the Commodores coming in next month, actually this month, I'm sorry. and we're going to be bringing in a portable air conditioning unit for that, which a year from now we won't have to worry about. So that'll be a great thing. And when Joanna's out scheduling and talking to people, we have 2 locations. And in fact, we've started booking events and having dual events going on at the same time. So that's a transition because there's one entrance in our building into the HAPO Event Center. So getting people in to go to 2 different areas with completely two different events. So we're expanding the entrances to the arena and how we're going to do that. And we want to make it comfortable for the people that are coming to be here.
I was going to say you transitioned perfectly into what I was going to ask about next, which was how does bringing all of that experience in with you change what has been happening here and what your plans are in the future? Obviously, you've got some pretty big plans as far as the building, the facilities, adding in the air conditioning unit, like you mentioned. That's going to be a big thing, especially when we get those 110-degree days here in the Tri-Cities.
Yes.
If not some of the other ones. I a couple years ago lost my house's AC unit to 118-degree temperature day, which is obviously the perfect time of year to lose your air conditioning, but also the only time that it would probably happen.
Right.
What other expansions? Let's talk about what the facilities are that we have here at the HAPO Event Center. And because you mentioned the arena, I know that there's the ice pavilion. We're sitting in the main lobby area, and on either side of us, there are a number of different event rooms.
Yes. Yep. It's really incredible. The amount of uses that this facility has the capability to do. We have the expo hall, which has been here. It's a concrete floor, but we do trade shows and we do large scale 1,300 people banquets at Christmas time for different companies in the area. The trade shows are a big success that are going on in the expo hall, and the arena itself is a little larger. And it will hold more people, and so it'll give us the opportunity to look at that more for doing concerts. And then, as you pointed out, we have the ice pavilion, which is a single sheet of ice, and we are the home for all of the youth hockey here in the Tri-Cities and the adult hockey league. Okay. So they take up, they're really here 6 days a week, all year round, from 3 p.m. till 1 a.m. And it's being utilized, and it hasn't been utilized like that in years. And so we're very proud of that, and that's going very well. And ultimately, we'd like to include more public skating and more public events, and then use Christmas time as a time for the community to come and be able to skate. So we do have a lot of plans for that. And in the master plan that's being worked on right now by the county and the city, and HWL is involved with that, they're looking at the potential to add a second sheet of ice, which would be just a tremendous asset, because there's not enough ice in this community to support the number of people that want to play.
I was going to say, how many do we have? I know obviously we've got the ice pavilion here, and you mentioned the Toyota Center, but I believe that's mostly reserved for the Tri-City Americans.
Well, they have, there's a separate, besides the Toyota Arena, which has the ice for the Americans, they have the separate facility there, which is a second sheet of ice, and they use that for same things that we do and public skating and what have you. But there's a need for more.
I was going to say, adding a second sheet here sounds like that's adding 33% to what we have available here in the Tri-Cities already.
That's right. And so it's something that's being discussed and looked at, and obviously it's not an inexpensive project. So as the master plan continues to develop, and we're hoping to see it come to complete fruition between the county and the city sometime late this year. And then I think you'll see some major moves being made and knowing the direction. I think one of the evolution of the HAPO Center, I don't think there was ever one point where the city and the county and maybe other entities, stakeholders, got together and said, who do we want to be? And why are we going to do this? And what's the best thing for a combination of creating enough revenues to be self-sustaining and also address the needs of small businesses, in the community? And that's what we're trying to do. And so it's very important that by the end of this year, we really have developed a conscientious plan in combination with the city and the county that does define, because we can sit in a meeting, we have an advisory board, and if you asked all of them what they want to do, you're going to get 15 or 17 different answers. And so that puts a little strain on us, because you want to try to accommodate and please everyone. But the reality of it is, it's very important for us as a community with the county and the city to put together in writing a plan that everybody knows what it's going to be moving forward. And, one of those, one of our dreams and some vision, again, is we're working with USA Pickleball out of Scottsdale, Arizona. And I've been working for about 5 months on that project and presenting it to the city and the county as part of this master plan. And We're looking at the north lot, which is butted up against the arena, and also Burden Boulevard. And it would have access from the main parking lot. You wouldn't have to come through the building. And we're looking at, we'll share those visuals that have been created. And one thing that pickleball does, it's not a fad. It's here to stay. And that's what I wondered about that for years. And you hear tennis players not wanting to play pickleball, but that's evolving too, So, and it crosses all demographics. It crosses all ages. And it's an affordable sport to play. Whereas, hockey tends to be a little more expensive. So
your skates, you got your pads, you got your injuries for not knowing how to skate properly, which would be on my tab.
Yes,
mine too.
Yeah. So we're very excited about bringing this to the table as part of this, whole vision. And it, not only would it affect the youth and the community and the schools, because we're talking about the potential for over 30 courts indoor and outdoor. So we would have portable courts indoor for when we host large scale events.
Right.
And then the outdoor arena would be, the outdoor courts would be permanent. And it's beautiful. The renderings we have are beautiful. We're talking about putting a large food and beverage and indoor outdoor bar that would cater to the outside, to the pickleball community, and also inside for events and when we have pickleball in there too.
Say that in and of itself is a pretty big upgrade. As an event center and facilities, though, you guys wouldn't be creating a pickleball league, just the facilities for that.
We would hopefully, and this all has to be discussed,
of course, with
the stakeholders. But our plan is to accommodate everybody, to create a stair-step approach to creating this beautiful, from youth classes and rec leagues, all the way up to working with USA Pickleball. And we've had great conversations that if this can be done, that we may have the opportunity to host 4 or 5 Northwest regional tournaments for them, and that these would lead us for the potential to be on a rotating scale to host the national championships, which would be televised nationally and internationally for that matter. So that, we're talking about dealing with the youth and youth leagues and the high schools and competitive leagues, and hosting regional tournaments, to working with USA Pickleball on a national and regional level.
See, and I think that works great, because if I remember correctly, Washington State is actually the birthplace of pickleball. At least one of our former coworkers in the marketing department at HAPO was related to one of the inventors of pickleball, and I know that he lives over in the Seattle area now. I don't remember if he was in Seattle when he invented it, but
Seattle takes claim to founding pickleball.
Well, there we go. See, just another piece of evidence that she wasn't lying to me this whole time.
Right,
Stephanie. Hope you're listening out there. Tell your grandpa hi and thanks for pickleball. As we're looking at hopefully bringing major tournament national recognition to the Tri-Cities area for that.
Yes.
I know a number of people who play in different pickleball leagues across the state. So it is absolutely becoming more and more a thing. I never really thought it was going to be a thing in high school back in the mid 90s. As I age myself a little bit here, we actually did learn all the rules to pickleball in gym class.
Oh, wow.
And then I never heard of it again after I left high school until recently, when it has made this massive comeback and upsurge in the community. And like you said, it's a very accessible game.
Yeah, I think that it's a social aspect to the sport that has developed. So not just tournaments and leagues, but people could just come and just like pick up basketball, going to the gym. You come in, you put your paddle up on the fence, and you're next up, and it's become really a social phenomenon for that matter. And we've looked at the numbers that have been done by national organizations, and it is amazing, the growth patterns, and it touches everybody. It's a sport that anybody can play and anybody can learn to play, and it's a social environment. And we think we can create the finest one in the Pacific Northwest, and that's why our partnership and discussions with USA Pickleball are being fruitful, because they want to crown us as the Northwest facility for them.
Hey, that is a fantastic set of plans. I'm excited about it. I don't play pickleball, and yet now I might be thinking about starting, because if I'm living near this type of facility that has that type of stuff, I'm probably going to want to take advantage of that.
For sure. Yeah. And one of the things, I know that I spoke with a gentleman, he had some concerns because they were thinking about building some courts and thought that our courts could really hurt them. My experience over these 40 years and all over the country, this kind of projects, success creates success.
Yeah.
And it will grow more fans, more people. In fact, some of the pickleball courts and locations in the Tri-Cities, we would like to interact with so that we are all working together to build the sport, and we may use some of those for overflow for tournaments. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity. And I think again, I've seen success breed success. And I think that's what this would do.
Well, and partnership is one of those things that HAPO Community Credit Union, we're all about partnership, helping people out. People helping people is the credit union motto. And just like you're saying, that success breeding success is one of those things. You get enough of those courts around, you can be like, hey, we're going to do a feeder tournament where you can get an entry into this tournament by winning at this location here.
Absolutely.
I've seen that with karaoke competitions at local establishments where they're getting people into different establishments to sing karaoke, and the winners then go on to a bigger competition. I have competed in those myself. We don't need to get into it any further than that on here, though.
We need to hear it.
Well, that's why I think, number one, it would give the Tri-Cities a signature piece.
Yeah.
And it would be credibility and image and reputation, and it would be a very strong thing. But I also think it would bond several cities, not only right here in the immediate Tri-Cities, but in the surrounding areas.
I was going to say, that is an interesting one. You did mention dealing with the city and the county, but being in Pasco and being the Tri-Cities, and we've got Franklin and Benton, Richland, Kennewick, and Benton County don't really have any say in what's going on here, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. But all of those people are coming out here for events.
Yes.
So we have an interesting economic environment here when it comes to each city in and of itself is considered medium to small, I would guess. But the entire community as a whole, the 3 cities, and I think 7 other smaller ones that are right in there,
yes,
add up to quite a big community to work with.
When I was here the first time when we opened the Toyota Arena or Toyota Center, I believe there was about 90,000 people, and there's 323,000 right now. I mean, the growth has been incredible, and it's not going to stop. There's so many positives to living in the Tri-Cities, and it's going to grow. It's going to continue to grow. We're going to see more and more people from California, from Portland, from Seattle, from other states, and people from the East. It's amazing how many people I'm meeting that are from the East Coast or from the North. How did you get here? And there's always a connection, and once they're here, they stay here.
Yeah, it does tend to be the type of place that once people get here, I've noticed if they take off, they tend to come back. If they get here, they tend to stay here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of conversations that you hear from people about there's nothing to do in the Tri-Cities, and that personally I think is a lie. There is a lot of stuff going on. You just have to go find it. And there's a lot of things that are happening. I know that I took a quick look at your guys' event calendar coming up over the next month or two, and it was packed with events that are happening. What are some of the events that you guys are bringing in for the surrounding area?
So currently, we have 2 upcoming concerts. Like Mike mentioned, we have the Summerfest coming up July 20th, and then we also have the Commodores July 26th. So that's definitely something to get your tickets for.
And if I can just comment on that, we really made a concerted effort to bring a concert in on Waterfallies weekend.
Oh, yeah.
we just we have a facility here that's air conditioned.
Yeah.
We have a facility that can accommodate people, and I know people are out during the day and they're in the sun, and what are they going to do that night after it's over? Well, we're going to bring a first class concert in, and we're going to have a party. And we just think we're cross promoting with the Waterfallies, and it's just another reason for people from outside the area to come here and know they can do the boat races during the day and a great concert at night.
going to be more than just a early in the day event and then hang out at your hotel after the fact.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
More and more things to do is exactly what's going to bring more people in.
Right.
Exactly.
So what else do you guys have on the horizon as far as different events that you're bringing in? I know that like there's a number of different expos.
Yes, we definitely
you guys
have
host.
the reoccurring expos, like the Women's Expo. We have a new one called the Conscious Living Expo, which is more tailored around yoga and things for health and wellness, which is pretty cool and definitely trending. And we're definitely bringing in other new events that are in other parts of Washington, but haven't been to the Tri-Cities, like the Lego convention.
Oh, fun.
So it's going to be called the Pasco Brick Convention, and that'll bring Lego artists, Lego figurines, and all that good stuff. So that'll be really fun. And then we're also bringing in a toy show, which should be a pretty interesting one. We'll have two expos. We'll have the Women's Expo and the Toy Expo. So definitely a lot going on. And we'll have everything on our website, so you can always go on there and look at our upcoming events, and hoping to bring in a lot more.
All right, so I have to ask the question, because we've talked about two things here: the yoga convention happening and the air conditioning. Hot yoga is a thing.
Right.
Like, is that going to be conflicting?
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. I might mention that to her.
Let's turn a negative into a positive, right?
Exactly. Everything can be a feature if you look at it in the right light.
Yeah. I like that. I might mention that to her. Awesome.
Let's see here.
You mentioned, I'm sorry,
I want to circle to something that I've been trying to get out into the community is, we're the HAPO Center, the HAPO Event Center, and we do big events, right? Everybody knows us for concerts, for expos, for larger scale, but we also do smaller events, I
was actually going to ask about that.
Yeah. So something I've been trying to get the word out, and when people come to tour the facility, I always tell people, come and take a look, and I'll give you a nice tour, and everybody says, you have small rooms? Like what? I can do a small little meeting for my business. I can do a board meeting. I can do a birthday party, quinceañera, wedding, like we definitely want to expand what we're doing and let people know that we can cater for anywhere from five guests to 5,000 guests. So definitely,
I was going to say that was one of the things that I had intended to ask about today, was how, like, obviously you guys are going out to find some of these events and bring them in, but other companies, other people can be coming in and asking about the space and how to book an event. The rooms that we're in right now, this is obviously the main hallway area, but on either side of us, like I mentioned before, we've got what I can see the Columbia River room, which is a relatively decent size conference room. You could have an entire seminar in there, somebody up doing a speech, bringing people in. Behind me, I believe, is the Snake River room, as well as the Yakima River room. And named for, of course, the rivers around the rivers, area, because everybody loves doing that, which is awesome. But different sizes, different facilities for all of these things. If I were to bring in a thing, what about like the concession stands and those? Talk to me about some of the details that go into a private booking. Say my birthday's coming up, and I've already got plans for it. But if I didn't and I wanted to bring 30 people in here, what are the options that I can do or things that I might need?
Yeah. So, we definitely have a room to cover your amount of guests, whether you want like the Snake River room, it can accommodate about 60 guests, and the Columbia River room up to 120 guests. So we just have to find, what you're looking to do. If you want a DJ, a dance floor, like what can we fit in the space? And we can definitely cater your event as well. We can cater it, or we also have partners, other catering companies that we partner with. So we can do that as well. And we also do the bar service. So if you're wanting a bar, let us know. We'll provide everything and do the bar service for your event.
And one of the benefits of not being a large corporate, team is that we really have flexibility. And Joanna continues to share this in the community. But if you have a dream, we can make it happen, and we can customize it for you, and we can make sure to the smallest detail we're going to do it. The one thing. We can have excellence in what we do, and we can listen to what you need, and we can make sure we make that happen. And in the last 6 or 8 months, people are walking out of here. Our clients are walking out with a gratitude and a thankfulness for the level of attention that they got to everything they asked for. And that's what it's about. We also have another motto. our objective is to make you look good in your decision to come here and to take as much of the work out of it as we can for you.
Hey, that works. I feel like there's a lot of people out there who go into knowing that they want to do an event and then not necessarily thinking about all the minutia that comes along with that. And I wouldn't say that catering and DJs are necessarily minutia, but at the same time, they are decisions that you need to make. And if you're doing it on your own, you've got to go track down all of the different vendors and make sure that they're capable of accomplishing the tasks, as well as then finding a space and organizing everybody to arrive.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people out there who could really take advantage of a community event center like this. That's not just like, they do concerts, so therefore I can't come in there and do my thing. Like I can immediately think of a dozen different things that I could use this space for.
And something's changed. When I came here almost a year ago now, when I came through these doors, it didn't have a good vibe. It hadn't been taken care of and money hadn't been put into it. And in this past year, the county and the city, they have put money into this. We have brand new carpets. We have brand new paint in this entire area, all the offices, all the rooms. We installed brand new widescreens, 8 of them here in this area. We bought portable, beautiful LED displays that you can use in any of the rooms. You can put games on out here in the atrium while you have an event. We have flexibility to make your dream come true. And that's, I think what Joanna's pointing out is that it's not a cookie cutter.
Yeah. I think that is one of those hard things for some people to understand is that, well, what is it that you can do for me? I can do whatever you want. Well, what do you want? I don't know. I needed a list of ideas to work from. And like getting those two things to marry up, but legitimately seeing like, hey, we've got a bunch of TV screens. Maybe we can hook up a bunch of video games and have a tournament.
And we do have that upcoming too.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
all right.
We do have a gaming
that is awesome.
type thing going on. Yeah.
A thing that you had mentioned earlier, Mike, was the success breeds success, teaming up. Do you work with, or is it kind of a competition with the Toyota Center, their ice? If you bringing in another rink, is that going to like cause some drama, some friction there, or is that going to be a benefit for everybody?
I really 100% believe it's a benefit for everybody. If we don't work together and we don't communicate with each other, we can step on toes and do dates that compromise each other. We've already opened up communication. We've got an excellent relationship with the Toyota Center and the management team there. They've been amazing for us through our transition of trying to upgrade and learn how to do things better. They've come over here. They've helped us. They had our whole group there, gave us a complete tour, showed us what they're doing and how they do some things and some marketing strategy. I can't give enough kudos to that, and we appreciate it so much. And we talk about how we're going to schedule, and we try to get together, quarterly or twice a year to talk about what we're going to do with this ice and what the future is. So yeah, it's all an asset. And in fact, we just got done with a long meeting over at the Benton County Fairgrounds, meeting with them and having the same discussions. Guys, how can we help you? And how can you help us? And are we good? And, about 90% of what we do won't be conflicts. We're all different. We all have a different identity of who we are and what we have to offer. And so that allows us to not have to compete as much. 90% of the events that are going to go on, we'll all get individually. We'll probably compete for maybe 10% of the business. You'll win some, you'll lose some. Well, but when you're being friends about it, that's where the success breeds success.
Yeah. And I feel like kind of with the pickleball court thing, you get a big enough hockey tournament in here, you might need to be shaking hands over there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And obviously those kids that play and those adults, they play over there too. So we're definitely in communication about that, and that's only going to get better and improve with the future.
Now, part of or I shouldn't even say part, one of the main reasons for having event centers is visitors and economics for the community in general.
Yes.
Do you have any particular information, given the time that you've had here, with the amount of like tourism and whatnot that you're generating that's helping out in these communities?
Yes. I don't think there's really data for the Toyota Center itself or Benton County Fairgrounds or us, but I can tell you that Visit Tri-Cities, who's run by Kevin Lewis and they have a tremendous staff. They're one of the best, community support systems that I've seen around the country. I mean, they do a tremendous job, and they have taken Joanne over to the west side to meet and go on calls with them about bringing business here. They've been an outstanding lead for us, and they gave us some information here that I thought I'd share with you. These are pretty staggering numbers. So the economic impact of the visitors to the Tri-Cities is $643 million a year. And that's staggering.
That is a huge number.
Right, which is why we all need to work together, because that number is only going to increase as we continue to work together. And we're really led by Visit Tri-Cities. And last year in 2024, there was 3.9 million visitors to the Tri-Cities. And, a large percentage of that are the fairgrounds, the Toyota Center, and here at the HAPO Event Center. Obviously, there's many other small things that go on that, to help to bring that number up. But that's a huge number. And having, we've got natural things here. The river's a natural thing, capitalizing on that. I mean, so we're taking advantage of relationships. We're taking advantage. But when it's all done, our job here is not to be a revenue producing, but to be sustainable financially. And that's why these numbers are so important. And putting people into the hotel rooms where that sales tax goes to the cities, and that helps them operate and function and meet their budget. So we're a big part of that for them.
I was going to say, bringing visitors into the Tri-Cities, into any community, putting people, as you said, into hotels, Airbnb, even VRBO, into all of the local restaurants, bringing people in for concerts. And obviously they're not just driving into town, see the concert and leave.
Right.
And even if they do, they're probably stopping to get gas to get back to wherever they're going.
They're all spending some money.
Exactly. And bringing that economic impact into the community is such a big deal. I think the fact that you guys are bringing such an international and national knowledge to this area, and also pretty cool that you're coming back to the area yet again, is absolutely fantastic. Do either of you have any final thoughts that you want to give to people as far as the future of the HAPO Event Center or the expansion to what we've got going on out here?
I can only say this, that there's a lot of people at the county and Franklin County, and a lot of people at the city of Pasco that are working together, because there was a 30-year agreement for this entire complex, of which the HAPO Center is just one piece. We've got soccer fields, we've got baseball fields, we got a baseball stadium, we have, we still have land to be developed. We have the food truck area being developed out here half a block from us, which will help us, and we think will help them. This has the opportunity to build to be much bigger and stronger than it is today. But I just want to leave with one thing. People need to work together.
Yep.
And not be territorial. Because if there's anything that's held the Tri-Cities back from the time I came here to the time I came back 35 years later, there's still some, protection and of our territory. And until those people let that go and work together, it'll be slower growth. And right now it's just great to see what's going on between the city of Pasco and Franklin County, because what they're doing here is going to affect the future long after I'm gone. People are going to be using this facility. It's going to be an economic asset, but it's going to be a cultural asset. And we're grateful to be a part of it.
Excellent. Joanna, anything from you?
Well, I just want to say, my goal ultimately is to serve the community, help as much as I can, and do what's right. I think that's Mike's motto, is always to do what's right. And so I'm super excited to continue helping and continuing being a part of events and letting people know that the HAPO Center's here. And so I'm excited.
Well, I know that we are excited. We, as in HAPO, have had our annual banquet here. Yes. And over the last couple of years, we have noticed that since you've taken over, I've noticed at least, the facilities, everything becoming what they are now. It's fantastic. I love the vision that you guys have kind of laid out and what you're doing. I think that you guys are absolutely what this community needs to help build up this event center to bring things in, and look out, world, because soon to be the home of the crown jewel of pickleball. I think that is absolutely cool as a potential. Yeah. Like looking out into the future, those things are absolutely fantastic. Mike, Joanna, thank you so much for joining us today. And everybody out there, this has been Dollars and Cents, HAPO Community Credit Union's Financial Literacy Podcast. Until next time.